Hello again, my name is Ernest Minu. Let's settle for the details. Now, Parliament will be considering for approval the report from the Appointments Committee on the vetting of 4 Supreme Court Justice nominees. Last week, Professor Henrietta Mensah-Bonsu, Yoni Kulendi, Jackson Honyenuga, and Ibrahim Tanko appeared before Parliament Appointments Committee to be quizzed for the position of a Supreme Court judge. The committee is presenting its report to the plenary this morning for consideration. My colleague Joseph Opoku-Gatlo, who is with us in Parliament, joins us on the line. Joseph, tell us more about today's sitting. Hello, Joseph, if you can hear me, tell us more about today's sitting. We know that the report of the Appointments Committee will be considered by the plenary. The 4 nominees who were before them last week were quizzed for the position of Supreme Court justices. Tell us about what to expect later this morning.
So let's begin with what's happening here in Parliament at the moment. There is the screening of various members of Parliament happening. MPs have come in here for their samples to be taken in order for them to be tested for COVID-19. This was a directive that the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, gave yesterday, that today from 9 a.m. We should have various MPs turn up here in order to undergo the necessary testing processes as far as COVID-19 is concerned. Let me get a quick reaction from some of the MPs who've been going through the processes. Patrick Yabuama is the MP for Kaikui Central. He's joining us live. How did the process go for you?
Thank you very much. Good morning, and good morning to our viewers and my constituents. It's been very smooth. It's been very well organized. They've been very professional. I didn't spend more than 2 minutes undergoing the process, and I think it's a call in the right direction. This is a novel situation, and it calls for all the seriousness that it requires from the leadership of the House, where the Speaker sits. So we are complying with the Speaker's directive, and we are going to ensure that we all undergo this test to assist the government and the health institution to ascertain the status of everybody within this serious arm of government so that we undergo our work in the chamber and within the precincts of Parliament with all the peace and the soundness of mind that it requires.
So now that a sample has been taken, I've been asking Dr. Prince Pambo a few questions. He's the medical director here in Parliament on what the processes look like. He indicates that its likely results will be back in about 48 hours, and Noguchi, which is doing the test, will liaise with you, the MPs, directly. Feeling apprehensive, worried, even as we all await the outcome of the result?
Not at all, because once you know your status, the medical teams and the experts will take you through whatever it takes for you to recover. So you shouldn't be apprehensive, because once you know your status, you are better off rather than working and feeling good and not knowing what has happened to you. So it's good. Once there shouldn't be any apprehension. You must be comfortable, whether you test positive or negative. It's good, because the system will take care of you. Go into isolation, they treat you, and I think it's very good.
We are grateful you join us. The Honorable Patrick Yabuama is the MP for Kaikui Central. He just underwent, he just did undergo the test as far as his COVID-19 status is concerned. A number of MPs have actually been showing up here in order to go through the process with their samples being taken, and then we've seen them then walking off. I've been gathering some details on the entire process from the officials who are leading this. In fact, let me get a quick comment from the official who is actually leading this. He's the medical director here in Parliament. His name is Dr. Prince Pambo. He is joining us in a bit for a quick conversation as we gather some additional details on it. He's actually addressing the press right here with details on the processes as far as this testing is concerned. Dr. Pambo is joining us live right now as far as the various testing processes are concerned. So just to give us a sense, when the MPs and the staff come around here, what exactly happens?
Simply go through the registration process. From the registration process, you go and your sample is picked, and then that's it.
Okay. When you say sample is picked, what exactly do they take from the
They just
individuals?
take a swab from your throat, that's all.
And roughly how many minutes does the process
The
take?
whole process takes less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yep.
And once this is done, then what happens next after the samples are taken?
Nothing happens next. When your results are ready, Noguchi communicates that to the appropriate persons.
Okay, so the results will not come back directly to Parliament.
It has nothing to do with the results. It's an individual thing when it comes to results.
How do you envisage all of this would actually help with the processes as far as helping to contain COVID-19 and keeping members of Parliament and staff here in Parliament safe?
I think one of the key things to winning the COVID-19 battle is to test and test a lot more. So we are chasing the disease condition. Okay, so we chase it, we catch it, and we treat. That's all.
Do you get the sense that we have a situation of the members of Parliament and all cooperating with the processes in order to actually...
As you can see, then several of them have already come and tested, and a lot more will come through.
Just to give us a sense, what does the numbers look like? You know, about how many people are you expecting will eventually go through the processes as far as the testing is concerned here
in Parliament? We have 275 MPs, and we have probably about another 400 staff. So yes, we're probably looking at everybody coming through to test.
In terms of the necessary guidance and counseling and the processes to ensure that even if people test positive here in the House, there's no panic and they're adequately treated. How is the medical office here in Parliament helping with any process like that?
You mean somebody testing positive?
Once the results are done and it happens that someone tends to test positive.
There's a national COVID management team, those who do case management, those who do surveillance and all. So yes, we are doing the testing. I don't even know who gets treated and who doesn't get treated at the end of the day. So that is normally between the testing laboratories and the national COVID management team. And I think as a country we are doing well. So if anybody is picked, the normal protocols will just be triggered and they will go through it and that will be fine.
Many thanks for joining us, Dr. Prince Pambo. He is the medical director right here in Parliament House, giving us details of this process to get all MPs tested for COVID-19 and to ensure that the MPs are safe even as they go about their duties. Ernest, back to you.
Yes, Joseph, I don't know if you get a sense this will be dealt with expeditiously because of the group of people we are dealing with by Noguchi.
From the indication that we're getting, this is actually a process that once the samples are taken, the MPs will wait for a period of 48 hours. That's the expectation of the medical team here in Parliament, that over a maximum duration of 48 hours, the results would have been ready so that if any counseling processes have to begin, if any management issues have to kick in, then it gets on from there. So they are hoping for more like a quick turn as far as the results are concerned. But for now, all that is being done here is that the samples are being taken and all of it will be conveyed to the Noguchi Memorial Institute. And it's there that the necessary processing and the testing particularly will actually happen.
Just a day's event, and are we just looking at MPs or the entire parliamentary service?
So the indication is that it's actually just for today, at least for now, from the directive that we gather came from the Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay. Now, they are looking at both members of Parliament and staff here in Parliament House. So not just the MPs, the officials who work with the MPs right from the Job 600 building where the offices of the members of Parliament are located, and all the others who undertake the activities here in Parliament will all be tested. And from what we are told, conscious effort is actually being taken to gather the data and the details of the individuals, including their names, their contact details, where they can be found even after the testing is done, so that if any tracing of any sort becomes necessary beyond today, that the samples are being picked for the testing to be done, then that can continue.
Got to the substantive issue. We know that last week 4 nominees for the Supreme Court were before the Appointments Committee. We had Justice Honyanuga, we also had Justice Tanko. There was Yoni Kulendi and Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu appear before the committee to be vetted. I do understand that the report by the committee is ready and will be presented to the plenary today. What more can you tell us on that?
Kojo, so the committee's report is actually done and has been laid on the floor of Parliament. That was yesterday. What didn't happen was a debate on it for the necessary approval. Now we gather that's something that will be happening today, and from the indication that we're getting, at the level of the minority in Parliament, they're backing approval for Professor Henrietta Mensah Bonsu, they're backing approval for Yoni Kulendi, and they're backing approval for Justice Amadou Tanko. But when it comes to Justice Clement Honyanuga, the minority has given the indication that they would fiercely resist the efforts to get him approved because they think he's a political figure and doesn't deserve to sit on the bench as far as the highest court of the land is concerned. What that means is that it's likely to be a case of we having a very heated debate on Justice Clement Honyanuga. At the level of the Appointment Committee, actually, 10 majority MPs voted for his approval, 7 voted against it, and so it's coming to Parliament with reference to the report as a decision taken not by consensus but by majority decision, and the minority carry on the debate seeking to get his approval blocked, and we are likely to see more of a head count in the end, even as the processes go ahead to get him approved. But again, the expectation is that the majority, just as they use their numbers at the level of the Appointments Committee, will use their numbers on the floor of Parliament itself to get him approved.
Now, beyond the approval of the nominees for today, what else should we expect in Parliament, Joseph?
That's mainly the main agenda that's on the table. The third item is the pre-education tertiary, the pre-tertiary education bill, which is something that the House has been dealing with for some time now, as well as the Education Regulatory Bill 2018. These are all documents that the House has been looking at for some weeks now, and today as well they'll continue with the processes in order to get the amendments that need to be done to the document done as the processes proceed. We know they returned from their break just yesterday, and those are the 2 main issues that they will deal with today, well apart from having to approve the nominees to the Supreme Court.
Joseph, thank you very much for bringing us update from Parliament. We'll return to you once the session begins on the debate for the nominees and a lot more of the issues that will happen today on the floor. You had our parliamentary correspondent Joseph Opoku-Gatto. Let's tell you more on the appointment of the Supreme Court nominees. Left to me alone, Justice Jackson Honyanuga should not be approved as a Supreme Court judge. These are the words of an experienced lawyer and MP, Inusaf Hussaini, who also sits on Parliament's Committee on Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs. Speaking on the AM show, Mr. Hussaini said the Supreme Court nominee failed to acquit himself equitably to be of high moral integrity when he appeared before the Appointments Committee last week. He spoke with Roland Walker on the AM show.
A judge, when you are made a judge, and those listening, High Court judges and Court of Appeal judges, you are on the way to the Supreme Court. Your integrity and moral character must be matters that you must protect with your own life. Because you see, even those, I've been a legal practitioner, even those who have been nominated to the Supreme Court, go to the bar and listen. Just go to the bar.
So if you were the oversight authority, you wouldn't have approved him?
This is Funaga. Yes. Why? Why will I approve him? Even today, if I'm given an opportunity to talk in Parliament, I will advocate for us not to approve him.
Justice
Honyanuga. Not that I don't think that he's a good judge, but I think that he failed in the litmus test.
Now, though Justice Honyanuga apologized for the statement he made praising President Akufo-Addo as a traditional ruler, Mr. Hussaini insists that the incident should not have happened in the first place because of his standing on the bench.
No, you ought not. You have now come to realize that you ought.
And you are
not.
making this in reference to his comments before?
Before.
What was wrong with the comment?
Everything was wrong with the comment.
Oh, he's a traditional.
No. Everything
traditional
was wrong.
ruler.
In fact, when
in that capacity as a traditional ruler,
it's wrong.
Because of his capacity in the other.
No, even his capacity as a traditional ruler is wrong. He was a dabbling in politics. There's a mandatory prohibition against chiefs.
But they do it all the time.
But that's impunity.
Why?
You want to encourage impunity?
Why should justice?
You want to encourage impunity? The fact that they do it and do it with impunity means we should let it go. And so if a traditional leader is not of the stature of Justice Onoga and does that, you can excuse that traditional leader. But if Justice Onoga, who is a traditional leader, does that, he's presumed to know the law. You understand? So even traditionally, it's wrong. And then judicial officer, you are supposed to administer justice without fear nor favor. And then when you appear before a vetting committee, they put questions to you. And then you answer them with a tinge of dishonesty. It goes to the Article 1284.
It depends on who is
no, but if they ask
assessing.
If they ask you
what
who wrote the statement
responses.
for you, if they ask you who wrote the statement for you, and you say you can't remember.
But he can't remember.